It like made my heart go. Like I was like this is a lot. Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new video. This essentially is a mood read my physical TBR, right? I think I want to try and make it a bit more rambly. Not rambly. No, I don't ramble. A bit more chatty. And just make it feel like we're on FaceTime with book besties and we're just chatting about books like there's no tomorrow, because they're my favourite type of reading vlogs to watch, where it's just uncontrollable chatter and it's the best time. But essentially we are trying to stick to the physical TBR because right now I don't think I can fit one more single book on here. Like, I have books coming in the mail and so we need to read some of these books, essentially. I've added some new ones recently. I might get down, I think I know what I want to read, but I'll get down, we'll show you the contenders. And I'm not necessarily slumping, but I'm in the mood for a quick, easy read because the book I just read was not completely engaging. Let's just put it that way. We are down low. I don't know how to make the lighting better, so I'll be quick. Essentially, the TBR cart is very full. So we've got a whole mix. We've got an Elsie Silver's book, which was a contender, but I have other ideas. We have some thrillers. I recently got Book Fairyed Powerless. I have Powerful and Reckless coming with the sprayed edges in the post. So that's exciting. Some of these books have been on here for a while. I have other videos in mind for some of these. But like my contenders, I'm thinking like hockey romance, cowboy romance. So we could do Off to the Races, we could do Collide. There's a whole other side. Don't you worry. Or I think, and this is what I think I'm going to read, I have Done and Dusted by Lila Sage. This is so short. And I feel like this is going to be the perfect book to just devour. But we have lots of other fun ones. Lots of romances. But some of these summer romances I think I'm going to save for like a summer reading, beach reads, reading vlog. Except I won't be on a beach. I'll be in rainy UK. So I think we're going to go for Done and Dusted by Lila Sage. Can't believe I haven't read this yet. If anything, the top is like a sign. This t-shirt is a sign, but this should be the chosen book. Obviously it's a cowboy romance, but I have no idea what tropes, what it's about. Okay, Brother's Best Friend. I'm really excited. I've heard great things and it's so short that I feel like I'm just going to blast through this, and hopefully it will get me out of my, not slump, but just reading slog is what I've been calling it. I've been in the mood for really specific types of books, and if a book isn't that book, then I'm not enjoying it. So I'm low-key excited. So I'm going to start this. I'm going to get comfy and cozy, pop my pyjamas on, get into bed, and we're going to start this. Fingers crossed it's everything that I need it to be. I'm sure it will be. Pyjamas activated. Book ready. I've got my Awala. I have the essentials. Let's start reading. Can we also just take a second to appreciate this cover? I love like the cartoon. Almost like it's giving like pop art vibes. I love it, like hand drawn. I just love it. Oh my god, the FMC is a champion barrel racer. I have no idea what that is. I assume it's some sort of horse riding thing. I don't know what they mean by soda in the US, but tequila soda sounds absolutely fine. Like soda in the UK is just like soda water, which is just like sparkling water that tastes a bit funny. No, like UK people, is that what we would say? Like a tequila soda would be? I don't really drink, but I don't know in the US what that means. Like soda water is just like tonic water, no? Or is like, so when they say that in the US, they mean like flavoured soda? I feel like I'm focusing on the wrong details. It just sounds disgusting. I can't. I eat this sort of thing up. Like 14 pages in and we're already getting the MMC's point of view. Like, thank you. And like, not just like, oh, you know, like going about everyday life. We're getting into the nitty gritty. We're 14 pages in. This is why I love a fast-paced, silly little romance book. They just fuel my soul and I can read them at any day of the week because they are like my kryptonite. I eat them up like my guilty pleasure, the purest form of escapism. Okay, chapter 3. I can literally listen to this, right? I trip over my boots and run into something hard. A chest. A man's chest. The man chest. I look up at its owner, who has a shit-eating smirk on his face. It was him, Luke Brooks. I mean, respectfully, I'm on the floor. What? Okay, I'm gonna continue. Oh my god, I'm gonna continue. I'm so excited for this book already. We're a couple of chapters in. I'm gonna give you the tea. So, we have Emmy, who is the horse rider. I don't really know cowboy lore. I don't particularly know what she is. It said barrel rider. I have no idea, but she's like pretty good at what she does. But I think she's had an accident of some description, so she's not riding at the moment. Or yeah, not riding at the moment. So anyway, she I think is back in her hometown for, you know, resting up, recovering. And her best friend Teddy go to this bar and they're like, oh, we're gonna have a fun night, you know, let loose, get drunk, you know, girls' night out, as we all know and love. And what she doesn't realise is the bar belongs to her brother's best friend, Luke, who I think she must have used to have a crush on. So he is very protective, very much giving like, if you let anyone else touch you, I'll kick you out of the bar, I'll kick him out of the bar, I want to like break his hands. Very protective, basically just giving the tough cowboy demeanour, which I've read the Chestnut Spring series. I'm obsessed. And I think this is just going to be very fast paced, which I love and appreciate. And yeah, he's very much like he's always kind of seen her. I think Luke's always seen Emmy as kind of his little sister, like in a sense, like very off limits. And she's rocked up in this bar in like this revealing top and this short skirt in her like night out clothes. And he's like, oh yeah, she exists. She's not like she's not a child. So Bestie's struggling to stay in control. Oh my god. Literally, I don't know what is in these types of books. I am, oh my god, ferociously blushing. Genuinely, I am obsessed. I am storming through this. I'm literally 50% of the way through and I've been sat here for like an hour and a half. Gonna give you a proper like update in the morning, give you a bit more about the plot, because obviously we're in the thick of it now, but I just wanted to give you a little update. This is so cute and so wholesome and I am eating this up to the highest degree. Obsessed. It is the next day and I'm pleased to inform you that I'm over 50% through, done and dusted already. This is exactly what I need. It's like the perfect just definition of like mindless, easy reading, page turner romance. It's perfect. I'm really enjoying it. We're gonna talk about plot. Just talking about plot, so Emmy is like a top, I said this before, I don't know how to explain cowboy lore to anybody. Emmy is, I guess, a professional horse rider? No, it's not what they call it. Some sort of cowboy horse rider thing. And she gets injured and she kind of then has like a mental block and is too scared to go back on a horse and go back to racing or riding or whatever they call it. So she moves back to her hometown. She has always had a crush on Luke, who is her brother's best friend, and he kind of like notices something's up with her and she basically then spills the tea and is like, I have been in this accident and I'm struggling to get back on this horse. So he's like, you know what, I'm gonna teach you how to ride again. And she's like, sure, why not? It's a little bit of a slow burn, but the book's not that long, so it's not too bad. And essentially, they end up getting close. He is very much protective, like, I will fix this. What can I do to help you? Sort of vibes, which we love, especially in a cowboy romance. It is nothing life-changing, and there's obviously the protective older brother of any, and it's basically the blueprint of any brother's best friend and any cowboy romance. But that doesn't necessarily make it bad. It just makes it predictable, and sometimes the predictability is actually what you want. You can't really complain about that when you know what you're getting when you go into the book. Look, like I said, it's nothing groundbreaking, nothing crazy, but I know it's going to do the job, and I'm literally just going to plan and sit tonight and devour the rest of it, and probably even start another book, because I have literally 45% left, and I seem to be ploughing through it like a crazy person, because the chapters are short. It's just so addictive, and it's exactly what I needed. I'm so happy I picked this up in the works the other month or week or whenever I got it. It's just the ultimate cowboy vibes, and I'm obsessed. This book makes me giddy. Like, I am giggling, squealing, kicking my feet like I never have before, and I needed that so badly. Oh my god. This has no business being this good. I now know why I was in a reading slump. I have been deprived of this feeling for too long. I am giddy, I am blushing, and I have not felt like this in months. I am a silly little romance book girl to my inner core. This is what I thrive off of, truly. Right, my loves, we have finished, done and dusted by Lila Sage. This was exactly what I needed. I can't even begin to explain it. This shadow is really annoying. Hold on. It's darker, but is that... Oh, that's better. It's just a bit dark, but yeah, I'll keep it brief. It'll be fine. I really enjoyed this, and it was exactly what I needed. Literally the blueprint of a cowboy romance. I ate this up. I ate this up. I just want to start off by saying this was nothing life-changing. It was nothing unique, and it was very much ticking off a silly little cowboy romance book checklist. So I just want to preface by saying that it was nothing groundbreaking and special. That was not at all what I needed anyway. I had been in a reading slump and not wanted to read, like that sort of slump, which for me is dangerous. I don't get into a slump like that very often. So picking this up was exactly what I needed. It is so short. Do you know how many? It's got to be under 300 pages. It's literally just over 300 pages. No, I think it's, yeah, 300 pages, literally. I probably devoured this total of like 2.5, 3 hours. I gave you a bit about the plot earlier. Essentially, it's just your classic cowboy romance. It doesn't have anything really special about it. Like I was saying, the characters don't necessarily have like a whole lot of trauma or a backstory. It's very much surface level, very much easy reading. Like, you can devour this in one sitting and not think twice about it. It definitely has a time and a place, and I really enjoyed it. I actually really enjoyed the relationship between the characters. I thought it was actually genuinely quite realistic and sincere, and it wasn't too insta-lovey. The first half I was like, oh, this is like, I'm not really getting the connection. I'm not feeling the tension. Like, I'm not really vibing. But then once you kind of get the first kiss, the first moments, it starts to heat up and you start to fall in love with the characters. Not fall in love with them. I won't be thinking about this book, but you start to engage in the characters more and engage in the story. Like I said, nothing life-changing, but I really, really enjoyed this and I needed it, and I feel revived, and I immediately want to start reading another book after reading this, which I cannot tell you how long it's been since I felt that feeling. With all that being said, I think I'm gonna give it... I feel like 4 stars is too generous just because of what it is, but I did really enjoy it. I'm sitting between a like 3.75 and maybe a 4. I can't decide. I'll put up here what I ended up rating it on Goodreads. For what it is, it's nothing life-changing. I will probably never think about this book again. I don't love it as much as I love the Chestnut Spring series. I think the Chestnut Spring series has so much more, the characters have so much more depth, and I just prefer Elsie Silver's writing. This was very, very fast-paced, and like I said, has a time and a place. I'm excited for the next one. I don't know who the next book's about. I'm hoping it's gonna be Gus and Teddy, because the like tension, I couldn't cope. Hold on, there's like a, oh, here we go. Oh, it's Ada. Oh my God, stop. It's Ada and who? I can't even remember. They mentioned Ada. Oh, is it Ada and, Wes? I think it's Ada and Wes. Okay, but I'm definitely going to be reading the next one. Oh my good God. This had me blushing, and naturally any cowboy romance does, but this was like the perfect amount of spice, this was just the perfect balance of everything. This was just like right place, right time book for me. I'm a happy girl. I have no idea what I'm going to read next. We're going to stick to this video and we're going to read another book off my physical TBR, but now I don't know what I'm in the mood for, which is a problem. I feel like this is a crucial decision, and it's currently like 10 o'clock and I don't know if I am awake enough to make that decision right now. So we might start reading another book, we might not. I will probably come to you in the morning with my decision. If not, we'll pick something else. But like I said, the TBR cart is bursting, and I think we officially now have space for one more book. Not that I condone buying another book, but hypothetically we have space for another book on the TBR cart. I'm feeling fresh. I'm gonna go and write my Goodreads review, which is like my reward. Marking the book as read and writing my little mini Goodreads review, or like my Goodreads one-liner, which I love doing. I'm gonna go do that, and then we might pick a new book, or we might just go to sleep. I haven't decided. It is the next day. The book I have decided to start, as you may have just seen, was Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. This has been on my physical TBR for a hot minute. Years, basically. So I was kind of just in the mood for it. And we're going to start it. I don't really know what it's about. I imagine it's gonna be, I know it's like a YA book. I've read The Heartstopper, and I've read also by her, I think Solitaire. Maybe I've read Nick and Charlie. I'm just looking at the back. I've read Nick and Charlie, I think. Oh, and This Winter. I've read quite a few of Alice Oseman's books. I love Heartstopper with every ounce of my being. I love that series. So I'm interested to see. I didn't love Solitaire, which is the other like proper novel that I've read by her. So I'm interested to see what I think of this, but like I said, I've had the book for so long, and I just felt like it. And I have a feeling that, I have a feeling it's got Aled in from Heartstopper. I don't think Aled's in the shows, in the actual show, the Netflix show, but he's in the graphic novels. So I'm excited. I'm gonna start this, give you some updates, let you know kind of more what it's about, and give you a bit of a plot. But yeah, I'm excited for this. So I'd give you a little run through about what this book is actually about. I'm not looking my finest. We're just gonna ignore it. It does this camera does this strobe thing. Okay, I'm gonna keep it brief. It's set in the UK, so they're in secondary school, I'm pretty sure, or sixth form, kind of the same thing. And it is from the point of view of Frances, who is, I don't know, I kind of identify myself in her. She's very self-aware. She's very kind of anxious about how other people will perceive her, very conscious of like her actions and what she's saying, doesn't want to be judged by anybody. I relate to that on a deep level. And she gets an email from this YouTube channel that she's like been obsessed with her whole life, and it's like an art channel or something, or a music channel, and they basically contact her and say, we love your art or music or whatever it is, we'd love you to create some stuff for the channel. And she's like, oh my god, like dream come true. Anyway, so she goes back to school and she's got her friend group, but she's started getting close to this guy called Aled, who is in the Heartstopper books. Like, he's kind of known in the Heartstopper books as like the shy, small kid who's like quite timid, keeps to himself. So she ends up befriending Aled, and this isn't really spoilers because it happens right at the beginning of the book, but essentially Aled is the person who runs the company that has contacted Francis and asked to produce some art for them, and they're like bonding and getting closer, and it's really sweet because they both kind of identify with each other and are kind of like, wow, like you are also one, like a people pleaser, and you're self-conscious and you're hyper aware, and they're like, oh, like this isn't just me that's like this. And I love that. I think Alice Oseman's books are like that in a sense, and I do enjoy that. I think I'm going to enjoy this. I think it would have been really beneficial for me to read this, like, I don't know, back when I was in school, but better late than never. I'm 20% through so far and I'm really enjoying it. The chapters are nice and short, so it's keeping me engaged. But yeah, essentially Francis and Aled are just getting closer and closer. I imagine there's going to be like a romance plot between them, but there's a lot more to it than that, if that makes sense. There's a lot more to it than just the romance plot, which I do love and appreciate sometimes. Like, sometimes I just want some extra substance to soak up the romance. Hello, my loves. It is the next day. I feel like this book of this reading vlog has just been all over the place, and I don't really have an excuse. I have been busy with work, but I need to try and get it back on track. I have been like reading my book but then falling asleep at like 9 o'clock, which is not ideal, and then I have to go and do something to wake myself up, or get a cup of tea, or just do something to wake me up because I'm struggling to keep my eyes open. Not necessarily even because the book is boring, just because I'm so tired and I don't know why. There is no realistic explanation for my tiredness, and I've just looked over, my plant is dying. Bear with me, I'm gonna water it, because if I don't water it now that I've seen it, it will die. Sorry about that. Plants are now watered and they live to see another day. I also want to just formally apologise. Some of the stuff I said about the book yesterday was lies. You later find out that it's lies. And never trust me ever with the information that I provide. My brain is feeling fried this evening, so I'm kind of excited just to get into this because it's a mindless, easy read. Currently, I imagine it's definitely going to get a bit heavier in parts, but overall it's to the point. The words are easy to read and process, and it's nothing too abstract. And I have it on my Kindle. It's just the perfect combination. I am 28% through. Essentially, we're just seeing the growth between Francis and Aled's friendship, and they're getting closer and closer. And it's just really nice because they're very similar in the way, and I think I said this yesterday and I can relate to this. They're very much people pleasers. They very much keep to themselves, and they're self-aware and kind of have a lot of sort of social anxiety in the sense they're always worried about how they're perceived. They're always worried if they're bothering other people, and yeah, essentially people pleasers. I'm gonna read some more. I've got a mammoth cup of mint tea. I measured how much this cup held for unrelated reasons. It's about 450 millilitres. This is like nearly a 500 milliliter mug of tea. It is Saturday night. I have no plans. We're going to get the Kindle out and we're going to read some more of this book and try and get a good dent done if I can keep my eyes open. And that is a big if. I really love the relationship between Francis and her mum. That feels very healing, and I don't know, I feel like you read a lot of books where the main characters are always having problems with their parents, and there's always unresolved drama and there's issues, and I feel like it's quite rare to get like a nice healthy relationship, and I'm really enjoying this one between Francis and her mum. I knew Aled was more a private and quiet person than I was, even though he played High School Musical Just Dance that week. Look, nothing in this world will make me more feral and just insane than a High School Musical reference in a book. High School Musical has been a chokehold, and I will never apologise. It is the next day. I am currently a whopping 63% of the way through Radio Silence. I am really enjoying this. I feel like I can't say too much about the plot, but essentially it is a story of friendship and betrayal and just like real human teenagers. This book is literally the embodiment of me in secondary school. Like, this is secondary school me, that it's like borderline confronting, but for the most part it's actually incredibly healing. I don't know what would have happened if I'd read this when I was in secondary school, sixth form. I probably would have collapsed. But post-school me is reading this and I'm like, this is healing for me. I really love how Alice Oseman is presenting these characters. They have so much depth, so many thoughts and feelings, and just like a real backbone to them. Please forgive me, I didn't wake up that long ago, but I've come to tell you, last night I finished Radio Silence while I was watching the football. Not that I was really watching the football. I was in the same room as the football. I was reading this. I just want to say, first off, masterpiece. This was a masterpiece. I don't know if I loved it so much because I could literally, like, this was like looking in a mirror from like me probably, I don't know, 3-4 years ago. This was a mirror and it was validating, kind of healing looking back on it, and almost kind of just like a slap in the face, to be honest. I'm gonna start off by saying this is for my academic validation, my this is me trying, my Mirable girls, my I can't do this, but you know deep down that you're going to do it and you're going to do it well, like, type of people. This is for us. It was 100% not what I expected. I don't know why I thought this was going to be a romance book. It's not, and I'm glad it wasn't. And I think this year I'm really discovering to read outside the like holy romance genre, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm really reading some new stuff. I'm exploring kind of more of just the general fiction genre, which I never would have done before, but I am starting to appreciate books with friendship, with the expression of like girlhood, and just learning that not for me now, where I am, not every book needs to have a romance plot. And this did. I mean, this had elements of romance in, but it's not a romance book by any means. It's a YA fiction, and it really explores friendship and just the struggles of high school, and I feel like just teenage antics and just kind of growing up and navigating life. And I don't know how much I want to say without spoiling it. I feel like not a lot, because it's a sort of book that you can 100% go in blind. The words on the page are really easy to read. It's not at all kind of complex. The characters are complex, but the actual book and the writing is not complex. It is a mindless read in that sense, but it is very thought-provoking deep down, and especially if you can relate to elements of this book, I think it's gonna, yeah, like be like a slap in the face a little bit. Like most of Alice Oseman's novels, it has the LGBTQ, like, queer element to it, which she does really well. She always does really well. I love Heartstopper, and I know Aled is in Heartstopper, so that's making me want to reread Heartstopper, because now we've really seen like an extreme deep dive into Aled's character. And I don't know about Frances. I don't know if Frances is in Heartstopper, but I know Aled definitely is. And we have seen a huge deep dive into both of their characters, but specifically Aled's, and now that's making me want to reread Heartstopper. I know he's like a side character, but you know, I feel so much for Aled that I'm like, I now just want to reread Heartstopper, because I just loved this. It was the perfect balance of everything, and it like made my heart go. Like, I was like this is a lot. And if I had read this at a specific time in my life, it would have 1000% caused a mental breakdown. I ended up giving it a 4.5. I really, really loved it. And like I said, I'd highly, highly recommend. And I can't believe this sat on my physical TBR for so long. Like, it's crazy. The next book I decided we're going to start for this video is Happily Never After by Lem Painter. This has been on my TBR. I think this came out in about January, February time. I love Lem Painter better than the movies. I think is my favourite YA novel. I love all her books. I will say I do prefer her YA books, but I did love The Love Wager. So this is one of her adult novels. She writes YA, adult, both. So I'm interested to see. I've actually already started reading it. I'm not that far in, but I've given it a start, just so I can give you a bit of a what's this about. So Sophie is getting married to Stuart, and Stuart's just kind of a crap fiance. He cheats on her, he's not respectful of her, but there's kind of an element of blackmail. Sophie's dad works for Stuart's dad, and it's like he will get fired if Sophie breaks off this engagement. That's just what the situation is. So she's like, no, I need to marry this guy to protect my dad. So she goes to the wedding, and Sophie's friend hires this guy called Max, who basically has a side hustle where he gets like required information from the friend or the bride or the groom, whoever, to break up the wedding. So essentially when it's like, do you know any reason why anyone objects to this joining of these people? He's like, yeah, I do. And he comes up with all the proof that like one of the people has been cheating or whatever. So Sophie nicknames him the Objector, and he basically objects to Sophie and Stuart's wedding. So that breaks off that engagement and breaks up that wedding. Sophie's obviously so thankful that she doesn't have to marry Stuart because he's a douchebag, basically. Anyway, so a few months go by, and Max then comes to Sophie, and he's like, I have this wedding I need to break up, right? Like, are you going to help me? Because essentially the bride's been cheating on the groom, and the brothers of the bride are like violent, big men. And he's like, yeah, I'm just going to get punched. So I need a woman to step in because these brothers aren't going to punch a woman. So anyway, he's asked Sophie to come and object this wedding, and she said yes. So that's like literally the first like 20 pages of the book. All that happens. And I'm enjoying it so far. I can tell it's going to be fast paced. I can tell it's going to be an easy read. It's really nice and short. And we're going to start reading. I'm just waiting for my dad for his train to arrive so I can take him home from work. And I thought I'd give you a little update. Currently, literally have my book open behind you. I'm 68% of the way through. And I thought I'd give you a little update because I don't think I've given you an update in a while. So I think kind of what I was saying at the start still rings true. It all starts off with Max and Sophie partnering up to essentially like destroy weddings and like release information that's going to break up the couple, like as per one of the people in the couple's request, essentially doing it so they don't have to have the awkward conversation. It is essentially kind of a friends to lovers situation, but they're very much like adamant. Well, Sophie more than Max, very much adamant that they're not looking for a relationship, not looking for anything, just purely friendship. Because obviously of how Sophie's past relationship has gone, she's like, I need a break, which, you know, is understandable. I think, like, I don't want to obviously say because it's spoilers, but I'm sure you can kind of imagine where the story goes. And I kind of don't know how I feel about it. Like, it's good. It's just at the moment, it's nothing special. Like, I've read this book before. I haven't actually read this book before. As in, like, I've read a familiar sort of romance concept before of, like, the relationship between the characters. I have not read this book before. It's nothing groundbreaking, and, like, Lynn Painter's writing is amazing, but it's just... Sorry, you can probably hear all the train zooming past. It's just nothing special, and that is okay. And honestly, like, I am hooked and I am wanting to just binge the whole book in one sitting, and because it's a short book, it's a very easy read and I am enjoying that aspect. But I just wanted to show my face, let you know what I'm up to, how far through I am, and let you know that I'm probably going to finish this tonight, and I'll give you my full thoughts and let you know what I think. I'm editing this video and I realised I never gave you my full thoughts on Happily Never After by Lynn Painter. It's not really too after the fact, I literally finished it last night. But we're gonna spill the tea, let you know what I thought. Look, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you I loved it because I didn't. Was it for the length and for the concept? Was it like okay? Did it do it justice? I mean, kind of. I usually love Lynn Painter's writing, and I don't want to be harsh when I say this. It felt like she didn't write this book. I don't know, like, what it felt like. AI had written it, it felt like someone else had written it. It felt so odd. It just felt so far from every other book I've read and loved by her. So it's a weird one. I will say I really liked the MMC. He was so kind, so respectful, so caring, and really understood Sophie's boundaries and was a pretty solid MMC, like a pretty solid fictional book boyfriend. Sophie was kind of insufferable, and honestly the back and forth between these two characters was childish and frustrating, especially in an adult romance. Like, that's what I expect to see in a YA or like a new adult. It was so frustrating. I honestly just didn't care about the characters, them even getting together, their romance arc. I just did not care, which sounds harsh, but look, I will pretty much read and devour any romance book to exist. That's like my speciality, and I just didn't love this at all. I didn't think it was, I just didn't get the romance, and I felt the chemistry. I will say that. I could feel the chemistry, but yeah, it was really weird. It felt like Lynn Painter didn't write this, and I don't really know where to go from there because that's a really weird thing to say. Genuinely felt like it was written by AI, and I'm not going to dwell on that fact too much because, you know, that's a whole separate point. Essentially, I ended up giving it a 2.5, which is not, I was going to say that's harsh. Some people would probably view it as harsh, but as like a romance book connoisseur, like, the amount of romance books I've read, I feel like I kind of can have a say by now, and this just fell really flat. I didn't care about the characters, I didn't care about the relationship, and I honestly didn't care about the story. The concept was kind of unique, but I don't know, I'm not really a big fan of weddings in books. It doesn't really excite me, and it's not something that actually naturally interests me. Probably because it's not really the sort of life stage that I'm at. So maybe that was part of the fact. And I'm gonna hold it to that because, yeah, when there's a wedding in a book, I'm just not particularly interested. And this was very wedding heavy. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it there because I could talk about this book for a while, and I'm not going to. This video is already really long. With that all being said, I want to say thank you so much for watching this video. I really enjoyed this, like, slightly more chatty. No, not even slightly more chatty. I think we should say exceedingly more chatty reading vlog. And it genuinely felt like we were on FaceTime. And that's like my favourite state, is to just ramble about books, read, and just chat like there is no tomorrow. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Subscribe, like if you want to see more. There are more reading vlogs coming. I really enjoy making them. And I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your week, and I will see you when I see you. Bye!